Would you believe that two people can walk down a lighthouse staircase while still being at the top? This chilling tale from the St. Augustine Lighthouse will make you question everything you see. On a quiet afternoon in 2015, Sarah sat alone on a bench inside the historic lighthouse while her mother and daughter climbed to the observation deck. Through the metal grate stairs, she watched them ascend all the way up, hearing the distinct sound of the heavy door opening and closing as they stepped onto the catwalk. Moments later, the same metallic creak echoed as two figures began their descent. They exchanged pleasant greetings with Sarah at the bottom before exiting through the main door. But here's where things turned strange. The door suddenly burst open again, revealing a mysterious figure straight out of an old sailor's tale. A bearded man in a rain hat and heavy boots, carrying a leather bucket, stomped inside. Without acknowledging Sarah's presence, he began climbing the spiral staircase, whistling an eerie tune that echoed through the lighthouse walls. The most terrifying part? Sarah's mother and daughter were still at the top, having never come down. What do you think those two figures were that Sarah saw descending the lighthouse stairs that day? Would you believe a charming 400-year-old cottage, priced at just £2,000, could hide such a dark secret that even seasoned realtors refuse to climb its stairs? Wait until you hear what happened during this property viewing. The honey-colored cottage sat nestled on a wooded slope, seemingly frozen in time from a hasty departure. Pots still rested on the stove, and washing hung limply from lines in the back garden, dragging against the ground. Inside, an open book and spectacles lay abandoned on an armchair, as if their owner had vanished mid-chapter. The beautiful wood-paneled walls held centuries of history, but it was the staircase that held something far more sinister. As the visitors approached the landing, an inexplicable force gripped them. Intense vertigo and nausea overwhelmed anyone who dared venture upward. The realtor, familiar with the property's dark history, finally broke down and revealed its haunting past. During the Battle of Modbury, the cottage served as a prison where enemy soldiers faced brutal interrogations. He admitted to seeing a ghostly figure in a shovel hat seated at the dining table during his first visit, a spirit that seemed determined to keep the upper floor's secrets. What would you do if you encountered such an otherworldly barrier in your dream home? They say some houses choose their owners. But what if a house is trying to warn you away? Across the street from a charming Victorian home in Arizona, a couple sat waiting for their realtor, unaware they were about to encounter something inexplicable. A shadowy figure appeared repeatedly in the upstairs window, though the house was supposedly empty. When their realtor arrived, she confirmed no one had lived there for months. Inside, the vacant rooms echoed with their footsteps as they toured the property. Upon reaching the bedroom where the figure had been seen, an unseen presence seemed to withdraw from their approach, leaving behind only a bone-chilling sensation. Despite the disturbing encounter, the property's attractive features and price nearly convinced them to make an offer. That night, a terrifying dream revealed the truth. Dark entities dwelled within those brick walls, harboring malicious intent toward children. In the dream, invisible forces attempted to harm their kids, trying to push them down the stairs. The warning came just in time. The family never returned to the Victorian house on the corner, leaving it to wait for its next potential victims. What other secrets do Arizona's haunted properties hold? Have you ever felt a presence trying to warn you away? Have you ever wondered what really happens in office buildings after midnight? At one Arizona call center, 20 new employees were about to find out why the graveyard shift earned its name. The fluorescent lights hummed steadily as the trainer stood before his class of fresh-faced agents, walking them through customer service protocols at 3 a.m. The building felt empty and still, except for their voices echoing through the hallways. That's when they first heard it, the unmistakable sound of someone weeping in the adjacent training room. The trainer's face went pale as the sobbing grew louder. He knew the building's history, the stories other employees whispered about the haunted training room where a former agent had passed away years ago. When he checked the room, he found it completely empty, yet the crying continued. His hands trembled as he returned to his class, forcing a smile while explaining their uninvited guest was a regular visitor to the building. Despite his reassurances, the new agents watched in horror as the doorknob to their own room began to turn slowly. The weeping grew closer and closer until, have you ever experienced something supernatural at work? Share your story in the comments below. Would you believe one of LA's most iconic buildings is so haunted, even security guards refuse to work inside? The Bob Hope Patriotic Hall holds darker secrets than its patriotic name suggests. Tonight we follow Marcus, the newest security guard at this towering Art Deco landmark. His first shift starts normally enough, monitoring cameras from the lobby desks. But at midnight, the screens show something impossible, shadowy figures moving through empty hallways on the upper floors. Despite every instinct screaming to stay put, Marcus decides to investigate. As he climbs the stairs, the temperature drops dramatically. The building's history begins to reveal itself. It once housed a military morgue in its basement during World War II, where countless fallen soldiers made their final stop before burial. Marcus hears whispers echoing through the halls, growing louder as he approaches the basement door. The security footage from that night shows Marcus rushing out of the building at 3 a.m., pale and shaking. He never returned for another shift. To this day, drivers passing by on the 10 freeway report feeling an unexplainable dread when glimpsing the building's silhouette against the night sky. What would you do if you were alone in this haunted hall at midnight? Have you ever felt that same mysterious dread driving past? Have you ever caught a glimpse of someone entering an elevator, only to find yourself completely alone inside moments later? This night shift operator was about to experience something that would make them question reality itself. Deep in the heart of a towering Arizona office building, a call center operator wrapped up their first shift break at midnight. The fluorescent lights buzzed quietly overhead as they approached the elevator on the 18th floor, spotting a shadowy figure waiting by the doors. The figure stepped inside as the doors slid open, and the operator hurried to catch the same cab. But upon entering, they found themselves utterly alone in the elevator car. As they descended through the empty building door, an unnatural chill penetrated their jacket, turning their breath to vapor in the frigid air. The temperature dropped further with each passing floor, defying the desert heat outside. Security footage from that night would later reveal something inexplicable. Where the operator should have been visible, there was nothing but static, and the elevator made its journey without a single stop. The building's maintenance logs would show no mechanical issues, no temperature anomalies, and no explanation for what happened during those 2 minutes of descent. What would you do if you found yourself alone in an elevator with something you couldn't see? What would you do if the bathroom faucets turned on by themselves at 3 a.m. and you were completely alone? One call center agent's terrifying encounter will make you think twice about late-night restroom breaks. The graveyard shift at Phoenix Heights call center was like any other, until Marcus needed a bathroom break at 3 a.m. The facility, built on ancient tribal grounds, had always felt different during the witching hour. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead as he entered the empty restroom, its clinical silence broken only by the hum of air conditioning. As Marcus stood at the urinal, the automatic faucet a few feet away suddenly activated. Water flowed without anyone near the sensor. Puzzled, he tested the mysterious faucet, pouring water over it, fanning it with paper towels, even placing his hands directly under it. Nothing triggered the unexplained activation he'd witnessed. Then came the sound that made his blood run cold. Behind him, a toilet stall door creaked open slowly. As Marcus turned to look, the door violently slammed shut, then burst open again, slamming repeatedly with supernatural force. Ancient spirits, disturbed by modern construction, were making their presence known. Marcus fled, his heart pounding, legs shaking. To this day, that restroom remains empty during the graveyard shift. Could the old tribal legends about spirits protecting sacred land be more than just stories?